Hey, Mike Davis is the man, founder of the Article 3 Project, former law clerk for Justice Neil Gorsuch, and former chief counsel for nominations for the United States Senate Committee on the Judiciary. Mike, welcome back to the show. Awesome to have you with us, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, man, you were, sir, Mike, you've been blazing the path, talking about these judges, these rogue judges, these activist judges. We finally got a Supreme Court decision that will stop this. It is so exciting that this happened. Give us your thoughts on this, Mike, and will this indeed hold?
Yes, it's monumental. President Trump's biggest and most consequential accomplishment of his first term was the transformation of the Supreme Court to the first constitutionalist majority in 90 years. And while these justices, Trump justices, may frustrate us from time to time, this is overall a very monumental term. They ruled 6-3 with the three left-wing Democrat women in dissent that states can regulate trans surgeries on minors. They ruled 6-3 that this judicial activism, this judicial sabotage, where one of these 800 judges around the country has an effective veto on the executive power of the president, these nationwide injunctions, likely violates Article 3 of the Constitution. They ruled 6-3 that parents can opt out of LGBT grooming, indoctrination in public schools on religious grounds. They ruled 6-3 that you can have age verification for porn sites, so these Democrats and their porn industry can't pollute kids' minds. They ruled on so many cases this term. It was a very good term. And I want to say this to the three, that these should have been 9-0 decisions. And I want to say this to the three left-wing justices who pretend there is a constitutional right to murder kids up until the moment of birth, or mutilate them with trans pills and surgeries, or permit porn sites to prey on them. These women need to reflect on their legal philosophy and their lives. And I mean Justice Sonia Sotomayor, Elena Kagan, and Ketanji Brown Jackson. This is truly sickening that they think that we fought a civil war so we can murder kids and trans kids and give them porn sites. They need to reflect on their lives.
You know what? You're right on the money. What drives these people? I can't even put into words and ask it a question on why they would do what they do, unless it's just a virtue signaling, Mike Davis. Then look, we're all in this together. Because, I mean, against kids, against children like that. And I mean, I don't know what the impetus is. Is it that anything but Trump kind of mentality?
I think it's worse than that. I think it's actually demonic. These people have very badly damaged souls. They're Marxist. And a lot of these people are just evil people. And President Trump is right to call for the end of federal funding to these states, to these hospitals, these doctors who profit off of this so-called gender-affirming care on kids, this life-destroying procedure where they make kids infertile, they take off their genitals. I mean, it's just sickening. I actually would go one step farther than cutting off their federal funding. I would put all of these people in prison because these kids could not give informed consent to this life-destroying procedure, lifelong procedure that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, called gender-affirming care, life-destroying pills and surgeries, and their nut job parents can't provide that consent for them. This should be outlawed. This should be criminal. This should be defunded.
Yeah, I agree with you. Reading here, opinion by Justice Alito, joined by Roberts, Thomas, Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, Barrett, held that parents have First Amendment right to opt children out of LGBTQ-themed school lessons. Amazing that, Mike, we have to go to the Supreme Court for this. The parents should do what they want to do and should have all the rights over the children. I mean,
it's insane. This has nothing to do with equality for LGBT. This has nothing to, if you're transgender, people should leave you alone. You should not be picked on. It's a serious mental illness called gender dysphoria. Just leave them alone. But when this Marxist ideology exploits these mentally ill people to go after kids, that is the red line that they cannot cross, and we cannot let them cross that red line as a civilization.
Yeah, and this too. Am I reading the right one about the restriction on nationwide injunctions? Opinion by Justice Barrett Roberts, joined by Roberts, Thomas, Alito, Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, held that federal district courts lack authority under the 1789 Judiciary Act to issue universal nationwide injunctions. Only tailored injunctions are permissible. What does that mean exactly, Mike, please?
Under Article 3 of the Constitution and this statute from 250 years ago, courts have limited power. The federal courts have limited power, and that is to decide cases and controversies of the parties properly before them with redressable claims. Nothing more, nothing less. It's a very important power. It's how we prevent civilization from going into civil war so people can go get redress for their claims. But we also, that power is limited. They decide the cases and controversies of the parties before them. They don't get to legislate from the bench, and that's what these nationwide injunctions are. They're clearly in violation of that statute. They're clearly in violation of Article 3 of the Constitution.
See, what I think, too, when I talk to you, Mike Davis, I think about you've been with us for a while, and we so appreciate your time. And then when I think about Fannie Willis bringing a president of the United States for a mugshot, Rudolph Giuliani, the man who saved America in New York during 9/11, for a mugshot. And look, where are they now? Where are they now? And you said it from day one. Where's Fannie Willis? And now what's going to happen? Let's go to New York. What's going to happen with Tish James? Will all of these just dissipate? But let me just make the point and say thank you, Mike Davis, for fighting the fight, man. Because I remember, and I was in the courtroom with President Trump, and I said, this is insane what's going on. And, man, you were right all along, my friend. God bless you for that, you know?
Yeah, maybe I would say this. Instead of, cutting off the genitals of kids, maybe they should give these big women in New York surgery so they're not so big. It's unbelievable. Maybe they're focusing on the wrong guinea pigs in New York. And let's not mess with the pigs. I think Big Tish and Big Fanny could use a surgery on their gut.
Oh, Mike Davis, the one, the only. Mike, while we have you, what happened to Fannie Willis and the Nathan Wade guy down there? What is that drama? How will that end up, man? You can't make that up, huh?
It's like two sparrows in a hurricane. They're just trying to find their way. I don't know what's going on with Big Fanny and Nathan Wade. That poor guy. What did he charged? Several $100,000, and he has to be stuck with Fannie Willis the rest of his life. Poor Nathan Wade. He's the one who needs redress here.
Back to the Supreme Court. So Donald Trump at least has some grounds where he can now make decisions, whether it's the migrants or whether it's these rogue judges that are just making these mindless decisions. And answer me this, Mike, and I hope I saw that right. I don't have it down, but Donald Trump has put in district court judges already by the dozens. Is that correct? This administration has done that already in 6 short months, sir?
Yeah, they've had hearings. They're getting them through. This is they're on the right pace. Here's the issue: we broke so much China in the Senate and confirmed so many of President Trump's judges in the first term, and then Biden took advantage of that system that we set up when I was the chief counsel for nominations. There aren't that many vacancies to fill, but I'll tell you that President Trump is picking even more bold and fearless judges in his second term. People like Whitney Hormendorfer on the Sixth Circuit down in Tennessee, who was the tip of the spear against these transgender surgeries on kids. She's going to be a federal appellate judge, along with Amel Bovee, who's been an absolute warrior. He was a former federal prosecutor, was big firm lawyer, left all that to go defend President Trump against the lawfare, put everything on the line to defend Trump. Yeah. Now he's a senior Justice Department official, cleaning out that rat's nest at the Justice Department, including the FBI. He's going to go on the Third Circuit in Pennsylvania. So President Trump's first 2 circuit picks are all-stars.
This is great. Mike, while we have you, before we let you go, I would love to hear your take on the Amy Coney Barrett smackdown of Ketanji Jackson Brown. That was epic, huh?
I loved it. And so that's the issue. I was a little bit rough on Justice Amy Coney Barrett when she sided with Tren de Aragua, an MS-13 terrorist, along with her 6 weak sister colleagues. I'm glad that maybe feeling the heat has helped them see the light. And so we're in a good place right now.
Yeah, Mike, listen, thank you so much. Thanks for joining us, and always appreciate you taking the time, my friend.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mike Davis, founder of the Article 3 Project. And don't forget, former law clerk for Justice Neil Gorsuch, former chief counsel for nominations for the U.S. Senate Committee on the Judiciary, knows the Supreme Court inside out and backwards.